What's going on, guys? Hey, it's I just got out of the gym, as you can see, and when I get out of the gym, I get out, and today it's always a word. It's always something that the God puts on my heart when I wake up, and it's something in my heart. And when I woke up this morning, I woke up and I got to thinking about what it takes to be a step parent. And there was a season in my life where I was a step parent. And when we talk about, this is something that maybe people don't really talk about. A lot of men, we don't talk about what it takes to be a step parent, and we don't talk about, it's not really shared. We don't talk a lot, period, when it comes to men and sharing things that are really deep, without judgment. And so today on my heart, when I woke up, I was really in the spirit thinking about when I was married, and thinking about how I embraced my wife, and how I made a choice to embrace her child as well. And what it took, and I got this flash forward, got to thinking about all the things that I had gone through within that journey. And maybe there's some of you guys right now that are struggling in a situation, or maybe you're considering talking to somebody or getting involved deeper with somebody when it comes to who has a child. Maybe you in a relationship right now and you're having some challenges with trying to be a step parent. And I'm just going to tell you that for me, in my experiences, there's no manual on how to get this right. There's no manual on it. But I believe that there are some fundamental principles that have to be in place. And one of the things that I did, what I did was I made a decision. I made a decision to love her as well as her child. Now, some of you will say, oh, that's easy to do. That's easy to do. But the fundamental difference in my scenario was the father was in his life. The father was in the child's life. So you say, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the father was in his life. So instead of it being, and at first it was kind of an awkward situation, because I'm like, how do I deal with this? I heard a lot of rumors about, exes sneaking around, going and doing all that kind of stuff right there. And I had to check myself, and I said, you know what? I got alone. I said, you know what, God? I chose to love this person. I chose to face what's in front of me, face the things that I can see, not the things that I can't see. And I got to trust them. And if I truly love and want to embrace her, then I embrace everything that comes with her. And that means her child as well. And quite honestly, in my mind and in my heart, I was like, well, maybe she would embrace the same things when it comes to those people that I love too. So being a step parent, so as I got involved in it, I got to thinking about all the highs and all the lows. So my journey as a step parent, it wasn't easy. I mean, we're talking about temper tantrums, throwing fits, crying. I vividly remember, for some reason it stood out this morning. I remember when we had got a new truck, we had got a new SUV, and I was really excited about that truck. It was new, it was plushed out, because we had kind of had, we had finally upgraded, and we're riding in the truck, and the kid just throws up on the back of the seat and just threw up. And I'm not big on vomit and stuff like that, But it's like I had to step outside of myself. You know, step outside of myself to say, hey, embrace this. Embrace, you know, if this was your son, how would you treat him? And try to treat him as much and as loving as I could my own son. And in fact, before I go in deep into that, what I did was I made a pact. I said, you know what? I wanted to meet the Father. And I wanted to establish a relationship with him because I wanted him to know that I wasn't there to try to replace him. I grew up an only child, and I realized that, and I wanted a father figure in my life, but I realized that I couldn't replace him. I'd be a fool to try to replace him. So what I told him was this. I said, I co-sign your checks. I co-sign your checks. So what that means is I stand behind you. All I ask is that when the time comes, that you please stand behind me. But I never want to step in front of you in a relationship that you have with your child. Now, some of you may be in situations where the father's not there. If the father's not there, great. You know, and I shouldn't say great, but I mean, that makes it a lot easier, right? But if he is there, to try to bridge a gap, you know, between be it father or mother or whoever, to make it better. And what he and I were able to do, the father was able to do, was we were able to come to a highly respectable understanding. And was it always easy? No, it wasn't always easy. Did the child make it easy? Let's be clear. Did the child make it easy? Hell no, the child didn't make it easy. And that was a test of my spirit. That was a test of love, a test of endurance, to know that you're pouring out all your heart, all your love, and doing everything you can to get the child to love you, to embrace that you weren't there to hurt them, but you were there to love on their mother and show that you loved them too. And why am I sharing this with you? Because, again, what did I do? What I found that when I got into tough situations, and maybe when you find yourself in a tough situation, what I always did is I went and I spent time in prayer. Admittedly, I spent a lot of time private beeping, like, I just frustrate the hell out of you. And I didn't do it all right, you know, with sometimes raising my voice or trying to interject my discipline at the wrong time. You're trying to figure it out. But the best thing I could tell you is that be patient. Take a step back. Take it to God. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but when you got to pray for the child, and you got to pray for the mother who you're with, because she has to stand behind you. She has to stand behind you and co-sign your checks and trust and believe in you. And the women, if you're watching this, you got to take the time too to stand behind him and give him an opportunity to fail in order to succeed. Oh, I know that's gonna be tough. The mother in you won't let it go. That's my baby. That's not this. That's your kids, be it a son or a daughter. But if you truly love that man and you could spend time laying with that man, then allow him to lead your family. And I flip back to you guys, and what I had to understand was, in understanding, when I talk about the foundation, when you truly lay a proper foundation, and that foundation is rooted in the spirit, and that foundation is rooted in the four pillars, but you that faith, that family part and that faith come into play. Being patient, being prayerful, standing, interceding in the middle of that, and speaking life, choosing to breathe and have outlets as you continue to allow that to nurture and grow. See, I didn't always have it easy in my situation. In fact, I'll tell you that ultimately, it never grew to a relationship that I really wanted it to be, but I knew that I gave my all. And I knew that I loved the child at the same extent that I loved the mother. So I want to encourage you today to, if you love that woman, love that child, and be patient. You may not get what you expect from it, but what it is it's a direct reflection of how you feel about her. But continue to work in prayer and in patience for both of them, or all of them, however many kids it is involved or whatever, I don't know. And continue to focus on your foundation. And it falls right back down to understanding where the importance of family is, the importance that you gotta grow. You're gonna have some highs and lows. And as I continued to drive, and I got out of the gym, I got to thinking, of course I thought about the throw up, right? Then I thought about the fun times. Just as over the years, how the relationship did grow and how we were able to have some better conversations and laugh, and watching my stepchild interact with my son. And like I said, while I couldn't get to the level that I wanted to inside of that relationship, that trusting God that, hey, you did your part. Maybe it's you sowed a seed. You planted a seed. And whatever you plant, it's always gonna reap. At some point, it's gonna reap fruit. And know that the fruit that I planted, and maybe the fruit that you're planting, if you plant in good soil and good intentions, faith-based intentions, you're gonna reap a harvest. You may not always see it, but know that you're used. And to me, that's the most important part. All right, so be strong. Be strong, guys. Hey, like, share, comment. Appreciate you guys. As always, I'll leave you with this. Sow good seeds. Do good work. Reap, then teach to repeat. This is Anthony Abron of the Affluent Man blog. Peace.